The general population is just now finding out about PGRs and they're not too happy about it. So let's set the record straight and clarify some things. What is a PGR? PGR stands for Plant Growth Regulator, and these are either chemicals or hormones that will actually do different things to plant, but generally they will slow down a plant's growth. And they have been widely used for many years in greenhouse production and at wholesale nurseries. This lady, Donna Likes Plants, had a video go viral where she talked about PGRs and the widespread use of them and how it could be contributing to your plants declining in your home. And parts of what she was saying in the video are true, but there was also quite a lot of things that were, well, a little bit misinformed or maybe even misleading. While yes, it's true that you may have purchased plants in the past, especially plants from big box stores that could have been sprayed with PGRs. But there were a lot of people that were interpreting this video that PGRs are bad for the plants or that somebody's plants that are struggling or dying could be caused from the PGRs. And that's not true. In fact, I would not want you to use PGRs as a scapegoat as to why your plants might be struggling, because that could actually lead you down a pathway to not correct any bad plant care habits that you may have. So why do growers use PGRs? One reason is it can slow down a plant's growth. Now let me explain why that would be beneficial. So what some PGRs will do is they will slow down the growth rate, but they will also lower what's called the internodal space. So that means the stem space, how much space is in between the leaves. And so it will make for a plant that's more compact. Now you can see that these are both geraniums. This one is in a 14-inch pot. It was allowed to get really big. This one is in a 6.5-inch pot. And so this plant wouldn't be well suited to get very big in a small pot because it would be hard to space it out onto tables. This plant would get really top heavy, it would get really root bound really quickly, and it would be hard to keep healthy at that really big size in a smaller container. So some growers will opt to use PGRs for this reason, to keep their plants more compact. That way they can fit more plants on a table and that they're going to display better in a smaller size pot. But not all growers actually use PGRs. There are a lot of growers that don't use PGRs. We try to not use them as much as possible because they cost money and they cost labor to apply them to the plants. So you could actually get a similar result just by planting these ones earlier in the season and waiting later to plant your smaller plants. And that's what we chose to do on this particular batch of flowers. But let's talk about some other reasons why people might use PGRs. PGRs don't always have to be about limiting the size or the growth rate of plants. Sometimes they are used to manipulate the flower production. They could either be used to increase the amount of flower production, or they can be used to actually keep a plant from flowering and keep it in more of a vegetative state, so that way it will grow to the market size that they want it to be before it actually starts expending energy on creating flowers. Now, one of the examples she used was a study about Tradescantia and PGRs, about how it will shrink that internode space and make that plant look more compact and appealing on shelves than what it might actually look like in its wild state or at people's homes. And that's true, but I'll tell you that many growers are not using PGRs and they're still getting similar results to this just by manipulating the amount of plants they put in a pot and also the environment that they're grown in. So you can achieve similar results in a more compact plant by a couple of different factors. One is lighting. I know of several very large wholesale growers that actually use little to no PGRs, but they are using lighting in their greenhouses where at night they're actually lighting them up and causing the plants to grow more compact, more leaves, and more full looking without actually spraying any chemicals onto them. And then when those plants are put into a home where they are in low light situations, yeah, of course they're going to stretch and not look the same as when they came out of those greenhouses where they had optimal growing conditions. This is getting really long, so let me just wrap this up real quick. You're less likely to get a plant that has been sprayed with PGRs if you shop your local garden centers and your smaller growers. But even if you do happen to buy a plant that has been sprayed with PGRs, it's really nothing to be concerned about at all. First of all, because they wear off. They do not last forever. So within a few weeks or at most a couple of months, that plant is going to have run through any of those hormones and they're going to be back to growing like normal. And next, they are not harmful to your plants at all. Trust me, growers do not do things to their plants that are going to sabotage their plants, because that would be anti everything that they do. So if you have purchased plants and they are struggling, it's not the PGR's fault. There's something else going on that you need to look at and address when it comes to your plant care. And it's also not as widespread as you might think. I would say, in fact, most plants have not been treated with PGRs. So hopefully that clears some stuff up.